Captain Lee Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the New Seoul, watching the blue and green planet grow larger on the main screen. After 18 months of travel through deep space, they had finally reached Kepler 442b. The planet looked perfect for human life, with vast oceans and green continents that reminded him of Earth. "Captain, we're receiving a signal," said Lieutenant Han So-young from her communication station. She looked confused as she listened to her headset. "It's not from the planet. There are ships approaching us." Lee felt his stomach drop. They had hoped to find an empty world where 50,000 human colonists could build a new home. Earth was running out of resources, and this mission was supposed to give humanity a fresh start. Finding other intelligent life changed everything. "Put it on speakers," Lee ordered. A harsh alien voice filled the bridge. The words were translated by their computer, but the tone was clear enough. "Primitive creatures, you have entered the territory of the Vorthak Empire. You will surrender immediately or face complete destruction." Dr. Park Mi-na, the ship's chief science officer, looked up from her workstation. She had spent years studying the possibility of alien life, but hearing it for the first time still shocked her. "Captain, sensors show 12 large ships moving toward us. They're much bigger than ours." Commander Kim Jun-woo, the tactical officer, checked his displays. "Their ships are massive, but the weapon signatures are strange. I'm not seeing standard energy weapons or missiles. The reading suggests some kind of biological systems." The alien voice spoke again. "I am War Prime Thekmor of the Vorthak Empire. Your species will serve in our mining operations, or you will die. These are your only choices. You have 1 hour to decide." Captain Lee had trained for many situations, but not this one. The New Seoul was an exploration ship with basic defenses. It carried families, children, and scientists looking for a new home. Fighting was the last thing they wanted. "Open a channel," Lee said. "This is Captain Lee Tae-ho of the human vessel New Seoul. We are peaceful explorers seeking a new home. We had no knowledge that this system was occupied. Perhaps we can find a solution that works for everyone." The response was immediate and cruel. "Peaceful? You are weak. The Vorthak Empire has conquered 17 star systems. We have destroyed species far stronger than yours. Your peaceful nature only proves you are fit for slavery or death." Dr. Park was working frantically at her station. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildups in their ships. Whatever they're preparing to use against us, it's unlike anything in our databases." Kim Jun-woo studied the alien fleet formation. "Sir, they're surrounding us, but they're not moving like a military force. Their positioning is sloppy. It's like they've never faced real resistance before." Lieutenant Han received another transmission. "Captain, they're sending us data files. The computer is translating them now." She went pale as she read. "Sir, these are records of other species they've encountered. 43 different civilizations, all marked as eliminated." Lee read over her shoulder. Each file showed the same pattern. The Vorthak would arrive at a populated world, demand surrender, then release biological weapons that killed every living thing. They had turned genocide into a routine operation. "They're not just conquerors," Dr. Park whispered. "They're exterminators. They don't want to rule other species. They want to eliminate them completely." The hour passed quickly. Captain Lee tried several more attempts at communication, offering to leave the system peacefully or negotiate for a small colony site. Each offer was rejected with increasing hostility. "Your time is finished," War Prime Thekmor announced. "You have chosen death. We will now demonstrate why the Vorthak Empire rules this galaxy." The alien ships began firing, but instead of energy, beams, or missiles, they released clouds of green gas that surrounded the New Seoul. The ship's hull was covered in a thick organic mist that seemed to eat through metal. "Hull breach in sections 4 through 7, reported the damage control officer. "The substance is dissolving our outer armor." Dr. Park was running scans as fast as possible. "Captain, this isn't a normal weapon. It's biological. Some kind of engineered plague designed to break down organic and metallic materials. According to these readings, it should kill any life form within minutes. The bridge crew waited for the inevitable. The green gas seeped through the hull breaches and filled the corridors. According to the Vorthak records, they should all be dead within an hour. But nothing happened. Dr. Park checked her instruments again. This is impossible. The biological agent is definitely in our air supply. It's designed to attack human cellular structure, but we're not affected at all. Are you sure? Lee asked. Positive. In fact, our immune systems aren't just resisting it. They're completely ignoring it. It's like our bodies don't even recognize it as a threat. Kim Jun-woo was monitoring the alien communications. Sir, they're confused. I'm picking up transmissions between their ships. They can't understand why we're still alive. Dr. Park's excitement grew as she analyzed the data. Captain, this changes everything. Humans evolved on Earth alongside countless diseases and plagues. We've survived everything from the Black Death to engineered viruses. Our immune systems are the result of millions of years of biological warfare. She turned to face the captain. Sir, I don't think any alien biological weapon can harm us. We've already survived worse on our own planet. The Vorthak tried again. This time they released a red mist that was supposed to dissolve nervous systems, then a blue gas designed to stop all cellular functions. Each attack failed completely. The humans remained perfectly healthy while their ship filled with alien toxins that had no effect. Captain, Lieutenant Han said urgently, I'm detecting new signals. Long-range communications heading toward Earth. And there's something else. Energy signatures approaching from the edge of the system. Lee smiled grimly. When they left Earth, the Colonial Defense Force had given him strict instructions. If the colony mission encountered any hostile aliens, he was to activate Emergency Protocol 7. That signal would bring every human warship within 50 light-years straight to their location. The Vorthak had just declared war on humanity. They thought they were attacking a helpless exploration ship full of weak colonists. They had no idea they had just challenged a species that had spent centuries perfecting the art of killing each other. War Prime Thekmor was about to learn that. Humans didn't just survive biological warfare. They had invented worse. Lieutenant Han So-young worked through the night, intercepting Vorthak communications, while the alien fleet maintained their positions around the New Sol. What she discovered made her blood run cold. Captain Lee, you need to hear this. She called across the bridge. Her translation program had finally broken through the Vorthak military codes. They're not planning to just kill us. They want to capture us alive. Lee hurried to her station. What do you mean? Listen to this transmission. Between their ships. Han played back the alien voices, now translated into clear English. War Prime Thekmor is ordering his science teams to prepare capture protocols. They want to study why their biological weapons failed. They plan to dissect our crew to understand human immunity. Dr. Park looked up from her research station where she had been analyzing captured samples of the alien bioweapons. That explains why they haven't tried kinetic weapons or energy beams. They need us alive for their experiments. Commander Kim Jun-woo was studying the alien fleet through the tactical sensors. After hours of observation, he had noticed something important. Captain, their ships are built all wrong for actual combat. What do you mean? Look at this analysis. Kim brought up a display showing the Vorthak vessels. These aren't warships, they're flying laboratories. Massive biological weapons storage, atmospheric processors for spreading toxins, but almost no real armor or shields. Their plasma cannons are huge, but they take 30 seconds to charge between shots. How can you tell? I've been watching them. Test fire at asteroids. Impressive light show, but terrible rate of fire. Our point defense systems could shoot down their plasma bolts easily. It's like they've never faced an enemy that shot back. Dr. Park made her own disturbing discovery. Captain, I've been analyzing the Vorthak bioweapon samples. The good news is that I can neutralize them completely. The bad news is that I can do much worse. Lee frowned. Explain. Their biological agents are incredibly advanced, but they're designed for species with simple immune systems. I can reverse engineer them to target Vorthak physiology specifically. We could create a plague that would kill only them. Are you suggesting biological warfare? I'm suggesting we have options they don't know about, Dr. Park said carefully. But first, let's see if our reinforcements arrive. They didn't have to wait long. Commander Kim's sensors detected the first signatures at the edge of the system. Captain, multiple hyperspace exits, big ones. The main screen showed flashes of light as ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. First one, then 5, then 20, then more than Kim could count quickly. 47 vessels, he reported with growing excitement. Colonial Defense Force signatures. Sir, it's the entire Fifth Fleet. Lieutenant Han was receiving new communications. Captain, incoming message from the CDF Incheon Vengeance. Admiral Cho Kyung-min commanding. Admiral Cho's face appeared on the main screen. He was an older man with gray hair and cold eyes that had seen too many battles. Captain Lee, we received your Emergency Protocol 7 signal. What's the situation? Admiral, we're surrounded by 12 alien warships. They call themselves the Vorthak Empire. They've demanded our surrender and attempted to kill us with biological weapons. They've also transmitted records showing they've committed genocide against 43 other species. Admiral Cho's expression darkened. Genocide? Complete extermination, sir. They don't take prisoners or negotiate. They simply eliminate entire civilizations using biological warfare. And they tried to do the same to you? Yes, sir, but their weapons had no effect on humans. Dr. Park believes our immune systems are too advanced for their toxins. Admiral Cho was quiet for a moment, studying reports from his tactical officers. Captain Lee, I want you to transmit all data on these aliens to my fleet immediately. Every communication, every weapon signature, every piece of intelligence you've gathered. While the data transfer took place, the Vorthak fleet remained in position around the New Sol. War Prime Thekmor was clearly confused by the arrival of so many human ships. His communications with his own fleet showed growing concern. The primitives have more vessels than expected, Han translated one transmission. But numbers mean nothing against superior Vorthak technology. Prepare the enhanced biological weapons. Dr. Park worked frantically to analyze new samples as the Vorthak prepared their next attack. Captain, they're loading something different into their weapon systems, much more concentrated than before. The alien ships began releasing clouds of black gas toward the human fleet. This wasn't the green mist they had used before. According to Vorthak Communications, this was their most powerful weapon, designed to kill any known life form within seconds. Admiral Cho's fleet sat motionless as the deadly clouds surrounded them. The Vorthak waited for the inevitable collapse of human resistance. Nothing happened. Admiral, came a report from one of the human destroyers. Biological agents detected throughout the fleet. All personnel remain unaffected. Weapon systems ready. For your orders. Admiral Cho's voice was calm and professional when he opened a channel to the Vorthak fleet. This is Admiral Cho Kyung-min of the Human Colonial Defense Force. You have attempted to commit genocide against human civilians. You have demonstrated hostile intent and capability for mass murder. You will surrender immediately. War Prime. Thekmor's response was filled with rage. Impossible! No species can resist Vorthak bioweapons. Your tricks will not save you. We will crush your primitive fleet with superior firepower. Dr. Park, Admiral Cho said privately to the New Sol, I understand you've developed countermeasures against their biological weapons? Yes, sir. I can create targeted agents that would be lethal only to Vorthak physiology. But, Admiral, their ship configuration suggests they've never faced kinetic or energy weapons in serious combat. Understood. All ships. This is Admiral Cho. These aliens have committed genocide against dozens of species. They came to our system intending to murder 50,000 human civilians. They have shown no interest in negotiation or peaceful coexistence. He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of final judgment. They wanted war. We will give them war. All ships, weapons free. Target their vessels for complete destruction. No survivors. The Vorthak had spent 1,000 years as the galaxy's apex predators. They had never faced a species that fought back with anything other than desperate biological defenses. They had no idea what was about to hit them. Humanity had spent centuries fighting itself with increasingly deadly weapons. They had perfected kinetic bombardment, energy weapons, missile systems, and tactical nuclear devices. Every human warship was designed by a species that understood one thing perfectly: how to kill efficiently and completely. War Prime. Thekmor was about to learn the difference between exterminating helpless civilians and fighting a military force that specialized in violence. The first shots came from the human destroyer Busan Lightning. Captain Yoon Da-eun had trained for this moment her entire career, but she had never expected to use her weapons against aliens who specialized in genocide. All weapons, fire, she ordered. The Busan Lightning's main railgun sent a tungsten projectile toward the nearest Vorthak ship at 12% of light speed. The alien vessel's shields, designed to filter biological agents, offered no resistance to the kinetic round. The projectile punched through the enemy ship's hull like it was made of paper. The Vorthak ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light and debris. "Direct hit," reported Lieutenant Colonel Bae Min-ho from the Busan Lightning's tactical station. "Target destroyed. Their shielding systems are completely ineffective against kinetic weapons." Across the human fleet, 46 other warships opened fire simultaneously. Rail guns, particle beams, and missile systems unleashed a coordinated barrage that lit up the darkness of space. The Vorthak had never seen anything like it. War Prime Thekmor screamed orders to his remaining ships. "Return fire! Use plasma cannons! Destroy the primitive vessels!" 3 Vorthak ships managed to charge their plasma weapons and fire back. Massive bolts of superheated energy lanced toward the human fleet. The shots were powerful enough to vaporize a city, but they moved slowly and took 30 seconds to recharge. The human ships simply moved out of the way. "Plasma bolt incoming," reported the tactical officer aboard the cruiser Seoul Retribution. Impact in 15 seconds. Captain Nam Ki-tae watched the enemy weapon approach on his main screen. Evasive maneuvers, port thrusters, full power. The Seoul Retribution slid gracefully to one side as the plasma bolt passed harmlessly through. Empty space. Before the Vorthak ship could recharge for another shot, the human cruiser had fired 6 railgun rounds in response. "The Vorthak ship is gone, sir," reported the weapons officer. "Complete destruction." Admiral Cho monitored the battle from the bridge of the Incheon Vengeance. His tactical display showed the systematic destruction of the alien fleet. Each Vorthak vessel lasted only minutes against coordinated human firepower. "Sir," reported his communications officer, "we're intercepting Vorthak distress calls. They're trying to contact their home fleet. Can we stop the transmission?" "Already done, Admiral. Electronic warfare has jammed all their communications. No word of this battle will reach Vorthak space." Dr. Park watched the battle from the new Seoul with mixed feelings. As a scientist, she was fascinated by the alien technology. As a human being, she was horrified by what the Vorthak had done to other species. "Captain Lee," she said, "I'm detecting massive data cores aboard the Vorthak ships. If we can capture some of that information before they're destroyed, we might learn about their entire empire." Lee nodded and opened a channel to Admiral Cho. "Admiral, Dr. Park suggests we try to capture Vorthak data before destroying their remaining ships." "Agreed. All ships, target engines, and weapons only on the remaining vessels. We need at least one ship intact for intelligence gathering." The human fleet adjusted their tactics. Instead of complete destruction, they used precise shots to disable the last 3 Vorthak ships. Within minutes, the alien vessels were floating helplessly in space, their weapons destroyed and their engines dead. "Marine assault teams, prepare for boarding operations," Admiral Cho ordered. Major Kang Sung-ho led the first boarding party aboard the crippled Vorthak command ship. His Marines wore full environmental suits and carried weapons designed for close combat in hostile environments. "Be careful," Dr. Park warned over the radio. "Their ships might be filled with biological hazards that could affect our equipment even if they can't hurt us directly." The Marines breached the Vorthak hull using cutting charges. Inside, they found a ship designed around biological warfare systems. Massive tanks contained various colored gases and liquids. Laboratory equipment lined the corridors. Everything was built for creating and deploying weapons of mass extinction. "This isn't a warship," Major Kang reported. "It's a floating death lab. They've got enough biological weapons here to sterilize a dozen planets." The Marines also found the Vorthak crew. The aliens were tall, insect-like creatures with 4 arms and compound eyes. They cowered in their control room, clearly terrified. They had never faced an enemy that could resist their weapons and fight back effectively. War Prime. Thekmor was captured alive, though he kept insisting that the battle was impossible. "Vorthak bioweapons are perfect," he repeated. "No species can resist them. You must be using some kind of technological defense." Dr. Park came aboard to examine the alien technology personally. What she found was both impressive and terrifying. "Captain Lee, they have biological weapon samples from all 43 species they've destroyed. They keep trophies of their genocides." "What kind of trophies?" "Genetic material, cultural artifacts, even preserved body parts. They treat extinction like a hobby." "But more importantly, I found their navigation data. We now have the complete map of Vorthak space. The battle was over in 17 minutes. 12 Vorthak ships had been reduced to floating debris. The human fleet hadn't lost a single vessel or suffered any casualties. It wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration of the difference between real military technology and weapons designed only for murdering defenseless civilians. Admiral Cho called a meeting aboard the Ancient Vengeance. Captain Lee, Dr. Park, and the senior officers of the fleet gathered in the conference room to study the captured Vorthak data. "The intelligence we've gathered changes everything," Admiral Cho began. "The Vorthak Empire controls 17 star systems. Each system contains multiple worlds with billions of inhabitants. According to their own records, they've been planning humanity's extinction for over 50 years. Dr. Park displayed the alien files on the main screen. "They call it the Human Dissolution Protocol. They've been studying our species, developing specific biological weapons designed to target human physiology. They were just waiting for us to expand into space so they could eliminate us completely." "How long before their home fleet realizes this task force is missing?" asked Captain Nam. "According to their communication logs, they're not expected to report back for 6 months," Dr. Park replied. "They plan to spend that time studying human biology after exterminating our colony." Admiral Cho stood and walked to the display, showing Vorthak space, 17 star systems, hundreds of worlds, trillions of inhabitants who had built their entire civilization on genocide. "They came to our system planning to commit mass murder," he said quietly. "They've spent 1,000 years exterminating every species they encounter. They were preparing weapons specifically designed to kill humans." He turned to face the assembled officers. "The question now is, what do we do about it?" Captain Yoon spoke first. "Admiral, they've proven they're a threat to all human life. As long as the Vorthak Empire exists, they'll keep trying to destroy us." Dr. Park nodded. "I've been analyzing their biological weapons. With enough time, they could eventually develop something that might affect humans. We can't assume our immunity is permanent." Admiral Cho looked at each officer in turn. "Then we have our answer. The Vorthak Empire has declared war on humanity through their actions and intentions. We will respond appropriately." The War Council aboard the Ancient Vengeance lasted 3 days. Admiral Cho had called for every senior officer in the fleet, plus General Lim Jae-sung, who arrived with a full battalion of colonial marines aboard the transport ship Gwangju Hammer. General Lim brought disturbing intelligence from Earth. The Defense Council has been monitoring alien activity in this region for months, he announced to the assembled officers. Long-range sensors detected the Vorthak Empire expanding toward human space. We were already preparing for a possible conflict. Dr. Park had spent the days since the battle analyzing every piece of Vorthak data they had captured. Her findings painted a picture of systematic evil that shocked even the hardened military officers. The Vorthak don't just commit genocide, she explained, displaying alien records on the main screen. They perfect it. Each species they destroy teaches them new methods of extinction. They preserve genetic samples, study resistance patterns, and develop better weapons for the next target. The records showed the fate of the 43 civilizations the Vorthak had eliminated. The Zalani had tried to negotiate and were dissolved alive by acid-based bioweapons. The Korvash had fought back with energy weapons and were destroyed by a plague that targeted their nervous systems. The Threnodi had hidden in underground cities and were eliminated by gases that seeped through any barrier. Every species taught them something new about killing, Dr. Park continued. Humanity would have been their 44th lesson. They were particularly excited about studying our immune systems because we're the first species to show complete resistance to their standard bioweapons. Captain Lee examined the alien files with growing anger. They have detailed plans for harvesting human genetic material. They wanted to keep some of us alive in laboratories for experimentation. General Lim nodded grimly. Which brings us to the central question. How do we respond to a species whose entire civilization is built on genocide? Captain Nam Kite spoke first. General, they came to exterminate 50,000 human civilians without provocation. Their own records show they've murdered trillions of beings across dozens of species. This isn't a border dispute or a resource conflict. They are a genocidal empire that views extinction as a tool of policy. Major Kang, who had led the boarding parties, added his perspective. Sir, I've seen their ships. Everything about their technology is designed for mass murder. They don't have agriculture, manufacturing, or trade vessels. They have plague ships, orbital bombardment platforms, and mobile biological weapons labs. Their entire economy is based on stealing resources from extinct civilizations. Dr. Park had been developing her own recommendations. I've now completed my analysis of Vorthak biology. I can create targeted bioweapons that would eliminate their species completely within months. It would be poetic justice, using their own methods against them. Admiral Cho listened to each officer's input before speaking. Dr. Park, could your bioweapons affect other species? No, sir. I can engineer them to target only Vorthak genetic markers. They would be completely harmless to any other life form. And how would we deploy such weapons? Their own ships contain atmospheric processors designed to spread biological agents across entire planets. We could use their technology against them. Captain Yoon raised a practical concern. What about innocent Vorthak civilians? Surely not every member of their species is responsible for genocide. Dr. Park pulled up more alien records. Captain, I've analyzed their entire social structure. The Vorthak don't have civilians in any sense we would understand. Their society is organized around what they call greater purpose, the elimination of inferior species. Children are trained from birth to develop new biological weapons. Their artists create monuments celebrating successful genocides. Their scientists compete to invent more efficient methods of extinction. She displayed images from Vorthak worlds, showing massive statues built from the bones of extinct species. They don't see genocide as a necessary evil or a military tactic. They see it as their destiny and their art form. General Lim had been studying strategic assessments. The question isn't whether the Vorthak deserve to survive. The question is whether leaving them alive poses an unacceptable risk to humanity and any other species they might encounter in the future. Admiral Cho stood and walked to the tactical display showing Vorthak space. 17 star systems spread across 200 light-years. Hundreds of worlds containing a civilization that had spent a millennium perfecting the art of species extinction. I've been in contact with Earth during our deliberations, he announced. The Colonial Defense Council has reviewed all our intelligence. On the Vorthak Empire, they've reached a decision. The room fell silent as every officer waited for humanity's verdict on the genocidal aliens. The Vorthak Empire represents an existential threat to human survival and to any other intelligent life they might encounter. Their capabilities, intentions, and historical actions demonstrate that peaceful coexistence is impossible. The Defense Council has authorized Operation Complete Solution. Admiral Cho turned to face his officers. We are hereby ordered to eliminate the Vorthak Empire entirely. Not conquest, not occupation, not negotiation. Complete elimination of their civilization, their technology, and their capability to ever threaten another species. Captain Lee felt a chill run down his spine. Admiral, are you ordering the extinction of an entire species? Captain, they have already attempted to exterminate humanity. They have successfully exterminated 43 other species. Their own records show they were developing specific weapons to ensure human extinction within the next decade. We are not starting a war. We are finishing one they started. Dr. Park looked uncomfortable despite her earlier suggestions. Admiral, my bioweapons could accomplish this with minimal human casualties. We could deploy them and withdraw, letting biology do the work. Negative, Admiral Cho replied firmly. Bioweapons are their method. We will use our method. Superior technology and overwhelming military force. We will visit every Vorthak world and destroy their civilization through conventional means. When we're finished, there will be no doubt about what happens when someone declares war on humanity. General Lim began planning the logistics. Sir, 17 star systems will require a massive military operation. We'll need additional fleets, supply lines, and coordination with Earth Defense Command. Already arranged. The 2nd, 4th, and 7th fleets are en route to join us. We'll have over 200 warships within a month. Additionally, Earth is sending specialized equipment, orbital bombardment platforms, surface assault vehicles, and deep space reconnaissance craft. Admiral Cho addressed the room with finality. Gentlemen, we are about to undertake the largest military operation in human history. We will systematically dismantle a galactic empire that has terrorized this region for 1,000 years. We will ensure that no trace of their genocidal technology survives to threaten future civilizations. What about the species they've already destroyed? Asked Dr. Park. I have complete genetic samples from all 43 extinct civilizations. We could potentially resurrect them using cloning technology. An excellent suggestion. We'll establish new worlds for the resurrected species in former Vorthak space. They deserve the chance to rebuild what was stolen from them. Captain Nam asked the final question. Admiral, how do we justify complete extinction to ourselves and to history? Admiral, Cho's response was simple and devastating. Captain, the Vorthak Empire has proven that some civilizations are too dangerous to allow to exist. They have demonstrated that they will never stop killing until they are stopped permanently. We justify it by ensuring that no other species will ever suffer the fate of the 43 civilizations they destroyed. We didn't seek this war, but we will finish it thoroughly. 3 months after the first battle, Fleet Admiral Song Hye-jin commanded the largest military force in human history. 212 warships organized into 8 strike groups, each targeting specific regions of Vorthak space. The operation had a simple name: Complete Solution. Admiral Song stood on the bridge of the super dreadnought Soul Vengeance, watching the tactical display that showed human forces moving toward 17 star systems simultaneously. Each strike group carried enough firepower to reduce entire worlds to radioactive dust. All groups report ready, announced Commander O.G. Wan, the fleet's strategic coordinator. Orbital bombardment platforms are in position. Marine assault. Forces are prepared for surface operations. Long-range reconnaissance confirms Vorthak military forces are concentrated around their homeworld. The first target was Vorthak Prime, the Empire's capital world containing 12 billion inhabitants. Admiral Song's primary strike group approached the system with overwhelming force: 36 warships, orbital bombardment platforms, and enough Marines to occupy a continent. Captain Lee commanded the new Soul, now retrofitted as a command vessel with advanced sensors and communication systems. Dr. Park served as the fleet's chief intelligence officer, coordinating the analysis of Vorthak technology and biology. "Admiral," Dr. Park reported, "we're detecting massive energy signatures around Vorthak Prime. They've positioned their entire remaining fleet in defensive positions around the planet." The Vorthak had learned from the destruction of their scouting force. Over 300 warships waited in orbital formations around their homeworld. Massive defense platforms mounted on asteroids powered up weapons that could crack moons. It was the strongest military force the Vorthak Empire had ever assembled. Admiral Song studied the enemy formations with professional interest. "Analysis, Dr. Park?" "Same problems as before, but bigger. Their ships are still designed around biological warfare systems. Larger plasma cannons, but still slow charging. More armor, but it's optimized against energy weapons, not kinetic impact. They're fighting the last war instead of this one." Major Kang led the first wave of kinetic bombardment. His orbital platforms released tungsten rods from high above the Vorthak fleet. Each projectile carried the kinetic energy of a nuclear weapon, but produced no radiation, just pure destructive force. "Firing solution locked," Kang reported, targeting their defense platforms first. The first bombardment destroyed 16 Vorthak defense stations in 30 seconds. Tungsten rods traveling at enormous speed punched through alien shields and armor like they were made of tissue paper. The asteroids exploded in brilliant flashes of light and debris. War Prime Thekmor, commanding the Vorthak defense from his flagship, screamed orders to his fleet. "All ships advance! Use superior numbers to overwhelm the primitives! Release all biological weapons!" The Vorthak fleet moved toward the human force in a massive swarm. Hundreds of ships released clouds of colored gas designed to disable or destroy human vessels. The aliens were using every biological weapon they had developed over 1,000 years of genocide. "Bioweapon deployment detected," reported the sensor officer aboard the Soul Vengeance. "Multiple toxins, acids, and corrosive agents, concentration levels that would sterilize most worlds." Admiral Song's response was calm. "Continue the attack. All ships, ignore the biological weapons and focus on target destruction." The human fleet moved through the alien toxins without any effect. Their ships' hulls were corroded by alien acids, but human engineering included redundant armor layers and self-repair systems. The biological agents designed to kill crew members were simply ignored by human immune systems. Captain Yoon commanded the destroyer Busan Lightning in the thick of the fighting. Her ship engaged 6 Vorthak vessels simultaneously, using rapid fire railguns to systematically destroy alien ships faster than they could charge their weapons. "Target acquisition locked," reported her weapons officer. "Engaging multiple hostiles." The Busan Lightning's weapons fired continuously, sending tungsten projectiles into alien ships at devastating speed. Each hit caused massive explosions as the kinetic energy transferred into the Vorthak vessel's biological weapon storage tanks. 6 confirmed kills, the tactical officer reported. Enemy vessels destroyed. Across the battle zone, the pattern repeated. Human ships with superior speed, firepower, and defensive systems engaged Vorthak vessels that were powerful but slow. The aliens' plasma cannons could destroy human ships, but they couldn't hit targets that moved too quickly and fired too often. "Admiral," Commander O reported, "enemy fleet strength down by 60%. Remaining Vorthak ships are attempting to retreat toward the planet's surface. Negative. Do not allow any enemy vessels to escape. Pursue and destroy all hostile contacts." The battle for Vorthak Prime lasted 4 hours. When it ended, the planet's orbital space was filled with debris from over 300 alien warships. Not a single Vorthak vessel had escaped to warn. other worlds, or carry news of human military capabilities. Begin surface bombardment, Admiral Song ordered. Major Kang's orbital platforms turned their attention to the planet below. Tungsten rods began falling toward Vorthak cities, military installations, and industrial centers. Each impact created explosions visible from orbit, reducing alien infrastructure to rubble and flame. "Sir," Dr. Park reported, "we're detecting underground facilities across the planet. Deep bunkers and tunnel systems where Vorthak civilians are taking shelter." "Are they military targets?" "Negative, Admiral. Intelligence suggests these are civilian population centers, schools, and residential areas." Admiral Song considered this information carefully. The Vorthak had spent 1,000 years murdering entire civilizations, including children, families, and non-combatants. Their own records showed they took pride in complete extinction, celebrating the elimination of every member of targeted species. Dr. Park, in your analysis of Vorthak society, did you find any evidence of conscientious objectors? Any Vorthak who oppose their genocidal policies? No, sir. Their culture views genocide as the highest form of achievement. Children are taught that other species exist only to be eliminated. Their educational system, their art, their religion, all focused on perfecting extinction techniques. Any evidence of Vorthak who tried to save members of other species? None. Admiral. In fact, their records show they executed any Vorthak who showed what they called species sympathy. Mercy toward other life forms was considered a mental illness in their society. Admiral Song nodded grimly. Continue bombardment. Target all population centers, underground facilities, and any location that might harbor survivors. Colonel An Soo-jin led Marine assault teams to the planet's surface to eliminate any remaining resistance. Her soldiers wore powered armor and carried weapons designed for urban combat in hostile environments. "Remember," she told her troops as they prepared for deployment, "these aliens have committed genocide against 43 species. They were planning to do the same to humanity. Show them the same mercy they showed to those civilizations." The Marines landed in the ruins of Vorthak cities and began systematic clearing operations. They moved through underground tunnels, sealed bunkers, and hidden facilities, ensuring that no alien survivors could escape to other worlds. Dr. Park monitored the operation from orbit, feeling conflicted about the complete destruction taking place below. "Admiral, we're essentially doing to them what they did to 43 other species. The difference, Dr. Park, is that we're eliminating a genocidal empire that would never stop killing. Every Vorthak who survives represents a potential threat to rebuild their civilization and resume their campaign of extinction. But we're talking about an entire species." Admiral Song's response was final. They made that choice when they decided their destiny was to murder every other intelligent species in the galaxy. We're simply ensuring they don't get the chance to complete that goal. The systematic destruction of Vorthak Prime took 2 weeks. When it was complete, the planet was lifeless. No Vorthak survivors, no intact technology, no possibility of the Empire rebuilding from its capital world. Similar operations began across all 17 Vorthak star systems. Each world received the same treatment: orbital bombardment, surface assault, complete elimination of all alien life and technology. Admiral Song received reports from strike groups across Vorthak space. Vorthak Research Station Omega destroyed. No survivors. Agricultural worlds 7 through 12 sterilized. Industrial shipyards completely demolished. The campaign continued for 6 months, moving systematically through every world the Vorthak Empire had controlled. Billions of aliens died as human forces dismantled a civilization that had spent a millennium perfecting genocide. By the end, 17 star systems lay silent, their worlds reduced to radioactive ruins. The Vorthak Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for 1,000 years, no longer existed. 1 year after the first Vorthak attack on the New Sol, Admiral Cho stood in the observation deck of the command station, orbiting what had once been Vorthak Prime. Through the reinforced windows, he could see the dead world below, a planet that had once housed 12 billion aliens and now supported no life at all. Captain Lee joined him, carrying the final casualty reports from Operation Complete Solution. Admiral, all strike groups have returned to base. Mission accomplished across all 17 star systems. Final numbers? Human casualties: 247 military personnel killed in action, 3,991 wounded. Total Vorthak casualties. Lee paused, still finding the number difficult to comprehend. Estimated 400 billion individuals across all their worlds. Admiral Cho received the report without emotion. Any survivors? None detected, sir. Deep space reconnaissance has confirmed that no Vorthak vessels escaped to other regions. Their entire civilization has been eliminated. Dr. Park approached with her own reports. Over the past year, she had become humanity's leading expert on Vorthak technology and biology. Her teams had spent months analyzing every piece of alien equipment and data they could recover. Admiral, I've completed the final analysis of Vorthak. Archives, she announced. We've discovered something important. Report. The Vorthak had identified 17 additional species in nearby star systems that they planned to eliminate over the next century. We found detailed files on each civilization, including planned bioweapon attacks and resource harvesting operations. She displayed a star chart showing the locations of the potential victims. 12 of these species are still in early technological development. They would have had no defense against Vorthak bioweapons. The other 5 are spacefaring civilizations, but none with military technology advanced enough to resist a systematic extermination campaign. Admiral Cho studied the chart with growing understanding. So by eliminating the Vorthak Empire, we didn't just protect humanity. We saved 17 other civilizations from genocide. That's correct, sir. Based on Vorthak historical patterns, they would have begun their next expansion phase within 5 years. Millions of years of evolution and cultural development across multiple worlds would have been wiped out. General Lim had arrived from Earth with new orders from the Colonial Defense Council. Admiral, I bring instructions for the next phase of operations. Go ahead, General. Earth has decided to establish permanent monitoring stations throughout former Vorthak space. We're also authorized to begin the resurrection project that Dr. Park proposed. Dr. Park's excitement was obvious. General, are you saying we're approved to clone the extinct species? Affirmative. You have complete genetic samples from all 43 civilizations the Vorthak destroyed. Earth is providing unlimited resources to rebuild these species and establish them on new worlds. Captain Yoon, who had commanded destroyers throughout the campaign, raised a practical concern. Sir, won't these resurrected species want revenge against humanity for what we did to their killers? Dr. Park shook her head. Captain, I've studied the records of all 43 extinct civilizations. They were peaceful species focused on art, science, and cultural development. The Vorthak specifically targeted nonviolent civilizations because they were easier to eliminate. The Zalani were poets and philosophers. The Korvash were master engineers who built beautiful cities. The Threnodi were musicians whose songs could supposedly heal emotional trauma. None of them had military technology beyond basic planetary defense. Admiral Cho considered the implications. Dr. Park, how long would it take to resurrect even one of these species? With proper resources, we could have the first cloned populations, ready within 2 years. Each species would start with about 10,000 individuals, enough genetic diversity to rebuild their civilizations. And where would we put them? The former Vorthak worlds, sir. After orbital bombardment, most planets will need decades to recover, but they're still habitable. We could terraform them into ideal homes for the resurrected species. Captain Lee had been thinking about the broader implications of their actions. Admiral, we've essentially appointed ourselves as guardians of this entire region of space. Are we prepared for that responsibility? Captain, the alternative was allowing a genocidal empire to continue murdering entire civilizations. Someone had to stop them permanently. General Lim presented the official orders from Earth. The Colonial Defense Council has established the Kepler Protection Zone. All 17 former Vorthak systems will be administered by human military forces until the resurrected species can govern themselves. What about the other species the Vorthak plan to attack? We're dispatching diplomatic missions to warn them about the threat they faced and offer defensive alliances. Most of these civilizations don't even know the Vorthak Empire existed. Dr. Park had one final discovery to report. Admiral, there's something else you need to know. We found evidence that the Vorthak were not the only genocidal empire in this galaxy. Admiral Cho turned sharply. Explain. Their archives contain references to 3 other species with similar philosophies. The Devourers, who consume entire planets. The Silence Makers, who eliminate all sound and communication from conquered worlds. The Final Engineers, who turn living beings into mechanical components. Are any of them currently active? Unknown, sir. The Vorthak had lost contact with all 3 over the past few centuries. They might be extinct, dormant, or simply operating in distant regions of the galaxy. Admiral Cho absorbed this information with grim determination. Dr. Park, I want complete analysis of everything the Vorthak knew about these other threats. If there are more genocidal empires out there, humanity needs to be prepared. Yes, sir. I'll begin immediately. Captain Lee looked out at the dead world below and reflected on what humanity had become. Admiral, a year ago we were peaceful colonists, looking for a new home. Now we're the most feared military force in this region of space. Captain, the Vorthak forced that transformation when they tried to commit genocide against our people. We didn't choose this role, but we'll fulfill it properly. What does that mean for humanity's future? Admiral Cho considered the question carefully. It means we've learned that peaceful exploration isn't enough when there are species in the galaxy that view other life as something to be eliminated. We'll continue to explore, to build, to create new colonies and new civilizations. But we'll also maintain the military strength to ensure that no other genocidal empire ever threatens innocent species again. The Vorthak wanted war, and they discovered that humans are very good at finishing wars permanently. Dr. Park began planning the resurrection of extinct civilizations. Within 5 years, former Vorthak worlds would house new settlements of species that had been murdered centuries ago. The Zalani would write poetry again. The Korvash would build their beautiful cities. The Threnodi would fill empty worlds with healing music. General Lim established monitoring stations throughout the region, ensuring that no remnant of Vorthak technology could ever be recovered and misused. Human patrols would guard these systems forever if necessary. Captain Yoon received command of the new Colonial Protection Fleet, tasked with defending resurrected species while they rebuilt their civilizations. Her ships would ensure that the reborn civilizations could develop without fear of conquest or extinction. Admiral Cho published the final report on Operation Complete Solution. His conclusion was simple. When a species demonstrates that its fundamental nature is genocidal, when it shows no capacity for change or mercy, when it views the elimination of other life as its highest achievement, then that species forfeits its right to exist. Humanity did not seek this war, but we ended it thoroughly. We eliminated a threat that had terrorized the galaxy for a millennium. We prevented the murders of billions of innocent beings across 17 civilizations. The Vorthak wanted war. They believed their biological weapons made them invincible. They learned that humans are immune to biological warfare and superior in conventional combat. They discovered that a species which spent centuries fighting itself develops very effective methods of destroying enemies. Most importantly, they learned that humanity will respond to attempted genocide with complete and permanent elimination of the threat. The dead worlds of the former Vorthak Empire served as monuments to this lesson. Any future species that considered genocide as policy could visit these silent systems and understand the consequences of threatening human civilians or the innocent civilizations under human protection. Humanity had transformed from peaceful explorers into galactic guardians, and they would never allow another Vorthak empire to rise again.